August might come bearing bountiful harvests, but to avoid running out of fresh vegetables as we move into winter, we need to keep sowing seeds and to start work on the autumn garden. So in this video, I'm going to share my top 3 seeds that you can sow in August, and this time I've got one that with any luck, you should be able to harvest for Christmas dinner. But before we get to the seeds, whether or not you can grow everything I suggest in this video is going to be dependent on your first frost dates. If you live in a climate with colder winters that arrive sooner, then crops that take a long time to mature might struggle as growth will slow down when the weather turns cooler. You can check your first frost dates online, but let me know in the comments where you're all growing your veg this year. Yes, winter might be a long way off, but this crop needs as much time as you can give it for a harvest both this year and next spring. I'm talking about onions. Both the kinds that form enormous bulbs, as well as spring or salad onions, which are varieties that are meant to be harvested while the plant is still young. This time of year you can plant spring onions for an autumn harvest, or leave them in the ground until the spring. Or you can try and overwinter bulb onions for an earlier harvest next year. You can grow both types from seed, but if you want to try overwintering onions, it's important to give them enough time to form strong bulbs before the frosts. So it could be a bit nip and tuck in some areas. But if you're starting onions from sets, then you've got plenty of time and could hold off on planting them until well into the autumn. For spring onions, you can start seeds now in trays or modules and transplant them when they've germinated. But if you have your weeds under control, then you can direct sow them into a shallow trench a couple of centimetres deep. The aim here isn't to grow large, mature, swollen bulbs, but to enjoy the younger and tender plants before the frosts come. The next seed that I recommend for August is spinach. Spinach is quite a hardy plant that grows very quickly, so sow now and through the autumn for fresh leaves both this year and next. In fact, it's actually the heat that spinach doesn't like. Both my spring sown and self-seeded spinach plants all bolted super early this year and ended up as chicken feed because we had a really hot spring. But it also struggles with germination at high temperatures, so it can be worth soaking seeds in the refrigerator for a day before sowing them outside and, if possible, planting them under some midday shade. To keep harvesting through the winter, you might find you need to cover your spinach with a low tunnel or some fleece to protect them against the worst of the weather. They should be able to survive light frosts, but thick ice and snow can be too much. Alternatively, you could try growing them indoors under lights or in a greenhouse. Another option is to grow perpetual spinach, which is a very hardy plant. In fact, it's not a spinach at all, it's a chard, which I grow absolutely tons of to get me through the winter, and I also grow it as an ornamental veg during the summer. So if you're not a fan of using protection, then you can give perpetual spinach or chard a try this winter. And before I start talking about the C word, be sure to press the like and subscribe button to get more videos from me about growing a vegetable garden. And let me know in the comments what you're growing in your veg garden now and in the fall. Now it might only be the start of August, but I'm already preparing for Christmas. And no, I'm not talking about buying presents. I only ever think about one thing: my stomach. Now I'm not meant to eat many carbohydrates, so I didn't grow this crop over the summer. But that isn't going to stop me from having fun at Christmas time. This veg is too traditional, and it's the second best part of any roast dinner. In case you haven't guessed yet, I am indeed talking about potatoes. Early August is the last opportunity to plant some Christmas potatoes, and if you're lucky, you should still be able to find a bag of seed potatoes online or in your local garden centre. Where I live, the first frost date is said to be the 11th to 20th of December, so even uncovered, they might make it to Christmas without any damage. However, to be extra safe, I'm going to grow mine in grow bags and then move them into the greenhouse when the weather turns a bit colder. These ones are a little on the small side, so you might want to use a larger container for yours, maybe 50 centimetres or taller. But I'm just growing potatoes for a bit of fun. I'm going to plant my potatoes about 15 centimetres or 6 inches from the base and add another 15 centimetres of compost on top. And then keep adding more compost as the plants get bigger to make sure that the tubers are always covered. Grow bags can lose quite a bit of water, so while I make sure to water them regularly, I'll also place them on top of these plastic sources, which limits drainage and prevents nutrients from being washed out. But don't let this list stop you from growing more veg. Salad greens, particularly ornamental greens like pak choi, Chinese mustard and mizuna, as well as roots like turnips and kohlrabi, can all be sown now, while loads more plants can be started if you can offer them more heat by growing them undercover, indoors, or in a greenhouse through the colder months. The one I reviewed in this video here isn't as good as a glass one, but it gives me an extra 2 or 3 degrees warmer than it is outside. Let me know in the comments what seeds you're going to be sowing this month, and as always, happy gardening.